Madam President, I rise to seek your leave to commence the debate on the bill that is shortly entitled the Amenities for Tourists Amendment Bill 2025. Allow me, as I stand to my feet for the start of this debate, to welcome those in the gallery, especially our young students from grade 6 at the Maud Cross Preparatory School, and to wish them all the very best. I'm hopeful that in time they will be standing here and leading this island and the Parliament. Madam President, this bill is a one-page bill, very short bill, but the import of it is quite significant. What does the bill do? The bill at Section 3 thereof says simply that Section 15 of the Principal Ordinance is amended by replacing the word "to" with the word "3". That's all it does, or seeks to do. If we go to Section 15 of the Principal Ordinance, which is the Amenities for Tourism Ordinance, it says, Amenities for Tourist Ordinance, forgive me, Chapter 6.05, it says at Section 15 thereof, they shall be charged, levied, and collected on the proceeds of A, charges for hotel and guest house accommodation, and B, charges for sale of food or beverage or both at every restaurant, a tax at the rate of 2%. And so all that we're seeking to do today is to change that rate from 2% to 3%. Now, Madam President, the reason why this is important is that this 2%, referred to as the Tourism Development Levy, is ordinarily what is used to fund the Nevis Tourism Authority and the marketing efforts of the Nevis Tourism Authority. And therefore, it is the money that is used to ensure that the island of Nevis is marketed globally in terms of our tourism product. As indicated, it is levied on hotel and guest house accommodations, that is, hotel and guest house stays, and charges for sale of food or beverage at hotels and guest houses and at every restaurant. It therefore seeks to collect from the tourism sector a fee for purposes of ensuring that the island has the resources necessary to market the island. I am pleased to report, Madam President, that the last year that we use as a benchmark of 2019, that levy, 2%, would have garnered for us the sum of $2.4 million. In fact, the precise total, $2,477,562.06. Of course, we understand that COVID intervened in 2020 and 2021, which led to a practical closure of the tourism industry, with our airports and ports being closed. And so we fell off precipitously in those 2 years. In fact, we earned just barely over $1 million in each of those 2 years. When we go then to 2022, we saw a rebound in that earning from where we were in 2019 at $2.4 million. We earned $2.7 million in 2022. And that reflected, obviously, the rebounding in the tourism industry as a consequence of the end of the COVID period. By 2023, Madam President, that number had jumped to $3.2 million in terms of our earnings, and we have kept that pace for 2024, where we have earned $3.166 million, or just about $60,000 less than we earned in 2023. To put that in context, our number for 2023 was 30% higher than we were in 2019, and 2024 was 27.8% higher than where we were in 2019. I say that to say that we have been moving in the right direction. And over the past 8 years, this 2% levy has earned us just shy of 20 million EC dollars, which has been used, as I've indicated, for the marketing of the jurisdiction. Now, Madam President, why is all of this important? It is important because, as we always say, tourism is everybody's business. These youngsters who are here, they go to schools, they use our roads, they use our parks, they use our facilities. Their parents might be working in the tourism industry. But most of what happens on this island, in fact, my colleague from Nevis 1 listed about 100 roads that he wants to build, 150 roads that he wants to build. All of those are funded in large measure from the tourism industry. But what we have done in terms of this 2% is we have ring-fenced that amount. And we have said that that amount will go exclusively to fund the activities of the Nevis Tourism Authority. I want to be very clear, Madam President, that we have not just come into the House to announce an increase in the tourism development levy. This has come about because it was announced in our budget of last year that we intended in this fiscal year to put that increase in place. And I wish to make it clear that that increase we intend to go into effect as of June of this year. So it is not intended to be immediate. We want stakeholders to have an opportunity to adjust what they need to adjust. As I mentioned stakeholders, let me also point out to the House that we had consultations with the hotel sector. We had consultations with the restaurant sector. We had those consultations prior to our budget debates of last year. And what we had those consultations to do was to engage with them, to get their feedback on this proposed increase, but also for them to understand the work that we were undertaking at the Nevis Tourism Authority and why we felt that an increase was warranted at this point in time. Madam President, it was as a result of that consultation, and if I can sum up the position of stakeholders, it was that they did not mind the increase, but they were concerned as to when it would be put in place. Because some of them raised the very sensible argument that they did work with tour operators and had already locked in business, and that business would only have reflected the 2%. And that is why we have decided that rather than impacting this tourism season, we will implement as of June with the expectation that it would impact our upcoming tourism season and therefore avoid the difficulties that some of our stakeholders said they would have had. So I want to be very clear that we had no opposition from the industry for the increase. The concern was only about the timing. And we have tried to solve that issue by, as I've indicated, ensuring that this will not come into effect until June. And we know by June we're going into the low season. And the expectation, therefore, is that by late October, November, when we go into our new season, that this 3% will now become the norm. What that means is that when you eat out at restaurants, when you go to hotels, that there will be an additional 1% on the bill. And that 1% will now reflect the increase from 2% that should have been there to now 3%, and that is what we're here to do today. Madam President, it is also important that I indicate that we have and are in the process now of shifting what we do at the Nevis Tourism Authority and how we do what we do at the Nevis Tourism Authority. We have just had a comprehensive analysis done of the authority. An outside firm came in and assessed where we are and made recommendations for where we need to go. We have emphasized and have said to staff there that the board of the authority and the authority itself will seek to improve the accommodation and the feel at the premises of the authority. You would recall that many years ago, the building that hitherto housed the Treasury was transformed for the Nevis Tourism Authority, and we feel now is the time to do some work there to ensure the greater comfort of those who are working there, those professionals who are charged with leading in terms of the promotion of this island of Nevis. We are also, Madam President, seeking to engage with far more activities in the markets that we are trying to access. And so we would have seen, for example, the recent appointment, which is an unpaid appointment, let me emphasize that, of Mrs. Candy Carter as our diversity ambassador. And Mrs. Carter has been very helpful in bringing to our shores opportunities to market the island of Nevis to the affluent African-American market in the United States, and more specifically along the eastern coast of the United States, from where many, if not most, of our visitors come. We therefore have a number of new opportunities to partner. We have partnered recently with something called the Ladies Playbook. And the Ladies Playbook is an organization that represents wives of NFL players, National Football League players in the United States. In fact, they had a retreat here in Nevis, and I believe members of the NTA recently traveled to New Orleans. And on the margins of the Super Bowl, they would have engaged with Ladies Playbook, again in an effort to promote Nevis to that demographic. We are looking now at a number of other events that we engage and intend to engage with. We recently, I think last year, we were able to send a mixologist to New York to be a part of the Brown Folks Connect, I think it is called, which is a grouping of brown people who are involved in how should I say, the film and television industry. And they have these get-togethers, and we provided a mixologist, and it was all about Nevis. And this year, I believe our acting CEO of the Nevis Tourism Authority, Mr. Fionn Jones, that he would have attended the Brown Folks Connect. And while he did not put that in his report, I heard he led a Congo line on behalf of Nevis. And so I would want to congratulate him on his dancing skills. When I saw the video, I thought the only thing missing was a good member from Gingerland, the Honorable Eric Evelyn. And so, and who? And so, Madam President, I say that to say that we have been engaging in a very significant way. We also, in the past year, would have led a significant team, including a band from Nevis, and, of course, members of the Nevis Tourism Authority. And we went to Tenerife, which is an island off Spain. And the reason for that trip was, again, to seek to market this island to that demographic, the affluent African-American market. They had a big retreat there. And so we were there as part of that and provided the entertainment. We have seen considerable pickup already. In fact, we hosted a small event recently here with over 30 African-American guests who had come in and were staying at the Four Seasons Resort. I say that to say that the island, in terms of its marketing efforts, is being far more deliberate, far more specific, and is targeting the very demographics that we are hoping will start to visit this island in greater frequency. I want to, at this juncture, thank our hoteliers, especially our Four Seasons Resort, and Mr. Billy Cueto, who's the general manager there. They have always been willing to partner, and for that we're truly grateful. But also to thank all of our other hotel properties who have been willing to partner with us when we engage in specials and fam trips and trips such as these. And I believe, Madam President, that the people of Nevis will start to see the benefits of these efforts. Let me also indicate that part and parcel of why we need this nominal increase from 2% to 3% is to provide additional resources as we do more in terms of our digital marketing campaign. Madam President, in the old days, we sent people abroad with lots of flyers and banners, lots of luggage, and they went abroad and we had to put them up in hotels, and they traipsed up and down to different meetings. And I'm not suggesting that that era is past, but I am suggesting that we can do a lot more and get more return on investment, more bang for our buck, if we stayed right here in Charlestown, but flooded the market with appealing content. And so we've hired a firm who operates out of the Florida area called Tambourine, and they have been leading in this regard in trying to assist us in ensuring that our online presence, our digital presence, is ramped up and is world class. And so part of these resources will now go to pay for our digital presence and ensuring that all of our team at the NTA, those that are there now and those that we hope to join us, will be able to engage in the digital world as the world now moves to digital marketing. Everybody is now getting their content on their phones or on their devices, and the old days perhaps of traveling around the world to set up a booth at a conference, that we hope to do less of that and more of the online digital content. And that is where we are hoping to save money, but also have a greater impact in terms of what we do and what we are attempting to do. And so you'll see greater content creation and a greater emphasis on the digital marketing. I must also add that we have had the lament from the Nevis Tourism Authority with, I suspect, good reason, that they are at the tip of the spear insofar as the economy, insofar as the promotion, insofar as the development of this island is concerned. I tease my colleagues all the time that while they spend money, tourism makes money. But notwithstanding that they're at the tip of the spear, their staff is less than 10, I believe, at this point. Am I correct? Less than 10. It's 10? 7. I'm hearing they're very efficient. But the truth is that we need to boost staff, we need to increase staff, we need to increase training and the capabilities of staff, and we expect, therefore, that these resources will be put to good use in enhancing the human resource capacity at the Nevis Tourism Authority. I will move very quickly, Madam President, because I don't propose to be overly long, to say to the House and to the Nevisian public that as part, again, of our wholesale revamping of what we do and how we do it, that we are in the throes now of finalizing the new campaign for the island of Nevis. We will be, I hope, sometime in May, launching a brand new campaign for this island. Everybody has seen Nevis nice, everybody has seen Nevis naturally, but we feel that Nevis naturally has been around for over 20 years, I'm told. Our logo has been around for over 20 years. And there is now the opportunity, as we develop the NTA, as we develop our human resource capacity, as we develop the physical space at the NTA, as we move to the digital marketing world, that there is now space for us to have a brand new relaunch of the island of Nevis and what we are offering. Again, that is being led by Tambourine. They have come, they have consulted widely with stakeholders, and our expectation is to roll out something, as I've indicated, by May of this year, both in our source market and here at home, where we hope, Madam President, to introduce to Nevisians, to our source markets, and to the world, the island of Nevis in a brand new light. If you will, we are having a coming out party. We are reintroducing ourselves to the world, repackaging what we are seeking to offer, and I'm hopeful that the people of Nevis and our source markets will respond positively. I have seen some preliminary drafts, and I must say it is quite impressive to my untrained eye in terms of what they're seeking to do, and we hope to have the full package of what we will be doing. And just so we understand, Madam President, this will be a brand new campaign, brand new logo, brand new tagline, brand new website, and brand new campaign materials that we hope that will excite the world and make Nevis the most talked about jurisdiction and the must-see jurisdiction. We know that in our sub-region here, we have really two main competitors, Anguilla and St. Bart's. And we are hopeful, Madam President, that we can get to a point where Nevis is very much a part of the conversation when guests are looking for a high-end bespoke jurisdiction that they can go to with family and that they can come to understanding the quality of what it is we offer. And so I have said all that to say that the reason for this nominal increase is to give us the resources that we need at the Nevis Tourism Authority to execute on the plans and programs that we have to take this island to the next level insofar as our tourism product and our tourism promotion are concerned. With those words then, Madam President, I certainly wish this bill safe passage through this honorable House.